live episode of Surviving the Survivor. We bring you the best guests in all of true crime. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, Joel Waldman.
What's up, SGS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. It is the show that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime on trending criminal cases. And today is no different. This case is one that is quite disturbing, quite sad, quite tragic all around. We are talking, of course, about the death of 13-year-old Maddie Soto, killed basically a year ago, February, by a person who was accused of the crimes. His name is Stephan Sterns. He's going on trial in May, and I'll be there for the SA portion of his crimes against this young girl. And then in the fall, he goes on trial for her murder. So it is going to be a lot to handle. This is little Maddie Soto, who it appears never stood a chance. A lot of people upset about the mothers either turning a blind eye here or possibly being complicit, and a lot of people upset with her. But this story is tough and difficult and all of the above. Here to break this down, we started last time, and I promised you we'd finish with them. He is a Las Vegas Police Officer of the Year 3 times, not once, not twice, but 3 times. There he is, Phil Ramos. The guy infiltrated the Cuban mob undercover, drives a Harley. He was a homicide detective. He did it all. There should be a movie about this guy, and maybe one day there will be. And there you go, Dr. Detective Troy Looney. He's an act. You're looking at a real live detective right now, a real active live detective, Dr. Detective Troy Looney, shaking his head there. But he is, we're getting him prepared to get on to True Crime Talk, STS True Crime Talk. But so we are going to break this down, gentlemen. Phil Ramos, I know you went to Music City. You were in Nashville. How was that, Phil Ramos? Did you see any stars?
No, we didn't see any stars, but it was a pretty cool place. I'd never been there, and walking up and down Broadway and all the rooftop bars and stuff like that, and live music everywhere. It was really cool. Plus, it's pretty historic down there, so we had a good time. In fact, we just got back last night.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So hopefully you're probably not rested, but you will be. I started watching you for the Adelson's coverage, and you got me hooked on Lori Vallow, who I'd never heard of. Now I'm intrigued by her. Now I'm just following your coverage of everything. Thank you so much. Great to have new people in here. I will share, not to name drop, but let me name drop for a minute. So when I was doing my book tour, CrimeCon happened to be in Nashville, and I went there, but I had a media obligation with the TV station there. I forget which affiliate. And I'm sitting in the green room, and there's this short little dude who everyone is swarming. And it turned out to be John Hall of Hall & Oates.
Oh,
yeah. So he lives in Nashville. Then the next thing you knew, it was just me and him in the green room, and we were hanging out and talking. And super nice guy. I was expecting him, tiny person, but super successful. And it was just surreal because their songs are all hits of the 80s. Troy Looney, are you ready for retirement at this point? Oh, you're muted, I think. Let's see here. Oh, you're still muted, I think. We'll work on that one. Hold on. Let me see. Not hearing you. It's just COE. We all need your help. Troy, I'm going to bounce you out for 1 sec while I fix that. Phil Ramos, let me ask you a question that just crossed my mind. Life is a rough place. Yesterday there was a shooting at Florida State University. There's just always something coming your way in life. Always.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you have like a little internal voice that keeps you going, staying positive, tuning out the negativity? How do you cope with things, if I may ask?
Man, that's a good question, because it's always at the forefront. Whenever you go anywhere or you're doing anything, you hear us talk about situational awareness a lot, and that's bred into us over decades, and you just keep that with you. You know, you're aware of everything that's going on around you. You're aware of the people around you, and when you spot that one person that you look at and go, something ain't right about this one. Um, you just got to be prepared for anything. You know, for the first few years when I was retired, I didn't bother carrying my gun. You know, I mean, I was authorized to carry it, and I
Yeah.
thought, you know, I had 33 years of putting that thing in the back of my pocket or back of my pants, and I don't need it anymore. Vegas was a different place 15 years ago. So, but now, yeah, it's in my pocket all the time, and you know,
Yeah.
you just because you never know when you're going to need it. You never know what's going to happen, especially if you're doing something that can invite some high risk behavior by the bad guys, you know, going to the bank or at the ATM. You know, we've all seen videos of people at the drive through ATM reaching in there to get their cash, and some knucklehead jumps over the hood of their car and tries to take it from them. So
Hmm.
you just got to be vigilant and aware of your surroundings.
Hmm. I gotta ask, the shirt you're wearing right now looks like a police badge. It looks like an actual. It looks like a real badge. But what is that
Yeah,
shirt?
yeah, that's our badge, a Metro Police badge, and it's when I was working the cold case unit. That's what the lettering is: cold case unit,
Mm.
homicide. Um, and so, you know, you get to keep a lot of things after you leave, and this is one of the things they let us keep.
Hmm. I am 6'7". No, I'm about somewhere between 5'10" and 5'11". I like to say 6 feet, but probably 5'10 and a half. Look at this, the Adam Lally fan club. Not as tall as he thinks, apparently. Ha 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 ha. By the way, I'm absolutely fascinated by this. I'll post some more, but you guys know I was in Tucson for the Tucson. By the way, Fridays are a little wacky at Surviving Survivor, but we are all fried from this week, so we will keep it low key, fairly quick today, and we'll do true crime stories of the week at the end. But I was visiting Tucson because I was invited to the Tucson Festival of Books, and one of my best friends is there. He is the weatherman in a place where it's sunny every day of the year. But anyway, that's his job. Not a very difficult one, obviously. Anyway, there's a reporter at his station, the NBC affiliate in Tucson, and he is 7'2". Um,
Oh,
and he's 7'2" almost in every direction. He makes Rex Heuermann look like a small guy. And my friend Matt, just because we have a dysfunctional, weird relationship, he just sends me like still shots of this guy in the field interviewing people. And like he'll interview a sheriff's deputy, and the sheriff's deputy literally looks like he's a 3-year-old. So I posted a few of those on my Instagram at Surviving the Survivor, and I will continue to post. I'm fascinated by this. One of the big, is probably maybe the biggest guy I've ever seen. He's like Shaquille O'Neal size. He's huge. Troy Looney, do we have you? No, we do not. What's going on? Phil Ramos. So COE? We're gonna need help here. COE. I mean, Phil, you can't you holster your gun? You said in the back. Carry it in the back.
um, yeah. When my big gun, you know, I have a couple that I carry right now. I just have a pocket pistol that fits in my pocket, a little 380, and it's, you know, 8 shots,
Yeah.
which should be all you need. But yeah, I don't like being obvious, and I certainly don't like walking around. Vegas or Nevada is an open carry state, so you know you see a lot, see a lot of guys with their holsters strapped on the outside of their pants
Yeah.
and walking into Walmart with their gun, and you know, you just think,
Yeah.
you
Now,
know, what's the point?
is it weird for you? I assume when you go to Nashville, you're not allowed to. You can't bring it on a plane, right? So,
Yeah,
do you feel naked without it in Nashville?
no, and actually we can.
Oh.
I have a nationwide carry,
Oh, nice.
so but I can't carry it on the plane. I have to check it on.
Hmm.
The only time you can carry on the plane is if you're transporting a prisoner currently on duty, and sometimes that gets a little interesting if the other passengers catch a glimpse of your gun and you're suit coat doesn't cover it and stuff like that. But airlines take a lot of precautions for that, and we take a lot of precautions, and we always sit at the very back of the plane, in the very last row. So
Oh,
that
really?
can be fun because you get to goof off with the flight attendants and stuff, and
Hey, Ramos, you do that on every flight you go on. You sit in the very back row.
if you're transporting a prisoner.
Oh, if you're, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant with your family. Okay. That makes sense. All right. So, Troy, no audio yet. It's going to be a little difficult to do a podcast. It's all right. We'll figure out. Everyone's looking at your dimples anyway, Troy Looney. The only problem with that is the COE. We're about to continue watching the Stephan Sterns interview. Let me bring in the COE for one moment here as we try to figure this out. COE, she's muted because you got kids, dogs. I don't know what else going on. Hey, any luck with? Oh, Troy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
loud.
I didn't do anything.
Oh, all right, you're there.
I stood
All
by.
right.
All right.
You're a little loud, but you're good. So don't get too close to the mic, but you're good.
I'll turn it down. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So for everybody here, again, Stephan Sterns. By the way, Good Friday. I should have said that first. Happy Good Friday. Good Friday. And Sunday's Easter. It's the end of Passover. I don't know. We live in a crazy world. Maybe things will, I don't know, how to simmer things down. You got this kid at FSU, not a kid, but 20 years old, losing his mind yesterday, shooting people up. And I don't know. We just need, maybe we could just have like a little peace and quiet in this world for a while. Who knows? I love this. I love this advice. This is exactly what I would do from Sherry Douglas. Dr. Detective, can you unplug? You don't have to do it now, Troy, but this was earlier. Can you unplug your mic and plug it back in? That's how I fixed it.
I did that. Yeah, maybe that's what worked. I don't know. You
All
can
right.
hear me, so we're good.
Yeah. So listen, we're a half hour into Stephan Sterns' interview. He had said some disturbing things in the prior half hour about his quote unquote relationship with Maddie. COE, let's let her rip. Troy or Phil, if you see something you want us to stop on, just alert us. I might stop it if I hear something. But without further ado, and look, we're only 12 minutes and 57 seconds in. We're already getting to the material. That's a record for STS on a Friday. COE, let her go.
Middle school and all that stuff. None of it counts. It's real. Just thought I should be better off waiting till high school.
Mm-hmm. Has she ever talked to you about boys?
A little bit sometimes. A little bit.
Has she ever, because I asked the same thing, has she ever disclosed to you about being sexually active with boys?
No.
Do you know if she's ever been sexually active with anybody in the past?
Not that I'm aware of. I heard there was some sort of incident when she was much younger where she did something with a phone or a camera but got scolded for it. She was very young. She didn't know. She got scolded for it though. I wasn't around then. But it's vague. It's just remembering what someone said offhand.
All right. What happened to your hand?
Flat tire. I haven't changed a flat tire in about 10 years, so I made a rookie mistake and had my thumb too close to where the jack and the frame meet.
COE, hold that for a second. I have no control. Phil Ramos.
Yeah.
Interesting. We're over a half hour in, and he had to have been looking at that. The detective suddenly asked him, what's up with his hand? I mean, this is, like you were just saying before about situational awareness. This is bred into you guys. You're looking at this dude up and down. Is that something that you would have saved this long to say, hey, what's up with your hand? And now right away he goes to the flat tire.
Yeah. I mean, and there's probably a couple other things that he's noticing that he's waiting to ask. It's just a matter of tactics for him. The way different guys conduct their interviews in different ways. So he'll have a long range plan for things that he sees and things that he knows. But on the flip side of that, Stern responded right away. He didn't give time. He didn't say, my hand. What do you? Oh, yeah. My hand. Well, he's trying to think of a lie. So I would say that's probably what happened to his hand, because he answered right away, and he wasn't expecting that. It was an out of the blue question.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's so interesting to me. I mean, so you're saying you think it's a true statement because he didn't hesitate at all.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. And Dr. Detective, let me ask you a question. I don't know if you can answer this honestly, but I would like to know. Do you guys try when you see something like that? Is that like an in to try to get these guys nervous, to try to get them to trip up?
So really, it's not so much. Well, I guess it just depends on, the circumstances. What kind of case we're investigating, but really, it's just an identifier and something he noticed and or maybe has knowledge of. But that could be a defensive injury, or it could be a number of things. It could be from the tire. But again, just his response is a little odd, especially him grabbing his face and he's thinking while he's talking, or I guess trying to consider. I think he tried to cover his hand at one point, or maybe put the other hand over it. So it just depends on the type of case and what knowledge we have about what happened. What questions we ask. So they're leading into, I'm sure, a confrontation.
Well, for as many comments as there were about the judge in the Lori Vallow case being a handsome guy, it is the exact opposite for Stephan Sterns. Creepy and revolting seems to be the overarching theme here. COE, let's let her go.
Frame came down on my thumb and pinned it between the jack, which I feel like I got off surprisingly light with that.
Ouch.
I yanked it free. You're not supposed to do that. It looks okay. It's got the worst of it. Some bruising under the nail.
Mm-hmm. What about the other scratches?
Courtesy of a janky tire iron and the road.
Did you bleed at all?
Yeah, this one had some blood and this one had some blood, but not much. It clotted fast.
Do you know what popped your tire at all?
No idea. Tire just started going floppy and then
pretty worn
way
out or something?
floppier and then just completely freaking separated. I think we had a spare and a jack. Janky as it was.
So typically when changing a tire and stuff, you tend to get brake dust and dirty and all that.
Yeah,
Did you happen to?
Positive that I breathed in some freaking brake dust or tire dust or something, because I was coughing the rest of the afternoon.
What'd you end up doing to clean up or stop the bleeding and stuff?
Nothing, actually. Just
You
went
didn't get too
home and
dirty?
washed my hands, and that was it.
Did your clothes get all messed up at all, or?
Not bad, surprisingly.
What were you wearing, by chance?
This. So I think I'm still wearing this. I'm still wearing the same clothes.
Oh, so you kept pretty clean.
Try to, I guess.
You weren't wearing a red shirt?
I was wearing a red shirt early in the morning, but I changed clothes later because that shirt was even a couple days old that morning. And the flat tire happened after that.
Did the flat tire happen before or after you dropped off to school?
After.
After.
It was sometime afternoon between noon and like 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long it took me to fix it.
And you changed your shirt before or after going back to get the gate clicker?
I don't recall. Maybe after. I can't. I'm so sorry. I'm medicated. I've been medicated all week. My memory is just not as reliable as I would like it to be right now. I was in a fog and half asleep that morning as it was.
Hey, let's hold that up for a second.
Walk to the
Hold that
car.
COE. Phil Ramos, curious to hear what your thoughts and Dr. Detective. There's a comment here. In my opinion, this detective did horrible with questioning. I'd like to know why you think that, Marley Mom. As I know all too well, it's easy to criticize, not as easy to do the job necessarily. Happy Friday from Ohio, 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 and that is Dr. Detective Troy Looney's home state. Go ahead, Phil.
I couldn't hear very well what he was saying about medication. He said did he say he was medicated?
He said I was medicated all week, so like something to the effect of I apologize. I'm not, not with it exactly the same way as I am typically. But he said he was medicated all week.
Do we know what medication?
He said it was anxiety medication. That's what he said. I think he said that previously.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned Ativan. I don't know. I'm not even sure what Ativan is, to be honest. But thank you to Bevs here. Yeah. So it sounds like, I don't know if he was self-medicating. It's not clear.
Yeah, that'll be an issue, and I hope that this the detective digs into that and really brings it out and goes into why and how long and what dosages are you taking and just really pulls all he can out of that, because that's going to be a built-in defense right there. And the attorney who sees that is going to use that as a defense. Well, my client was medicated. He's not responsible for what he did. He admits he was medicated. So you got to be ready to pick that apart.
That's super interesting. And that makes a lot of sense. What's fascinating is prior to doing this podcast, I never realized how much law enforcement needs to be sort of proactive in terms of upcoming prosecution. Like, you guys are always thinking in terms of what happens in court. Ida Shaw here letting us know lorazepam, I guess it's the same thing as Ativan, but Dr. Detective Troy Looney, Ida Shaw, we talked about this a little bit last time. She also earlier asked about the posture here. If you care to comment on the anxiety meds, but also his posture up to this point. He has not uncrossed his arms for a second, I don't think.
Right, absolutely. So, yeah, his posture still stands out to me as being defensive. He's obviously guarded. That's what I noticed also. Excellent question, by the way. And, he keeps reiterating, I apologize if I can't remember details. I was on a fog. I was medicated. So that seems to be his go-to for any kind of question that may be, where they're dialing into more specifics. But he remembers the tire. He remembers which mark are on his hands bleeding, which one was not. He remembers his shirt, changing it. But when it gets to the particular details, of course, it changes. So I think he's being deflective. And of course, the detectives, they may have more knowledge than we're aware of, and they're letting him lock himself into different places he may have gone. The fact that he changed clothes or did not change clothing, where's that clothing currently? So again, those things this is a part of their strategy to, again, come in for the final confrontation, or if they're going to do that during this interview, to confront him with what they readily know.
All right.
Troy's spot on that. If I could just jump in, that's 100% accurate. That's exactly what we do. Guys, have different ways of doing that, but ultimately, Troy's 100%. They're priming him to start hitting him with right now they're just giving him a couple of little jabs, and they're just priming him to hit him with that right hook.
Right.
All right. COE, I know that I'm being
that I'm on her own.
Make sure you get that letter signed, COE. Thank you.
Yes.
What are you thinking about?
Sorry, I'm spacing out here. Long day, no sleep.
Who else has access to your car? Are you the only one that drives it?
My parents have access.
But here in Kissimmee?
Yeah, Kissimmee, I'm pretty pretty much the only one with access to it.
So safe to say you'd be the only male driving that Lincoln.
Presumably, yes.
All right, I want to get back a little bit to your relationship with you saying she's not allowed to have boyfriends or anything like that.
She can have crushes. She likes though.
All right, have you and her ever exchanged, like, do you guys exchange text messages? How do you guys communicate?
FaceTime. She'll FaceTime me at night when I'm not around before bedtime to say goodnight. Talk to her and her mom. And sometimes we don't even talk about anything. We'll just sit there doing our own thing and just with each other's faces on the phone. Just spending time,
What happened? So the deputies made a comment. So what happened to your phone?
I have no idea what happened to my phone. I was pushing off doing this update for a while and ended up trying to do it. I don't know what the hell, my head being in the state it was, I wasn't paying attention. I ended up somehow doing some sort of option that updated the OS, but it ended up like wiping my phone at the same time. Even just now, the phone that my dad gave me and set up for me, I literally just pulled it out of my pocket and the sucker was reinitializing again.
Let's stop. Let's stop.
Yes.
Dr. Detective, I mean, he's saying, he just said that sucker is reinitializing again. I mean, he's trying to pull the proverbial wool over the detective's eyes. It's very hard to do. I mean, this guy did a factory reset. And he's basically pretending that it was an accident. At this point, you got to be chomping at the bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking while he's talking, he's very smart and cunning, as one of the viewers mentioned. He obviously thinks he's smarter than them. He's letting them know, oh, I don't know what happened to my phone. I did a reset. But he's also telling them I switched phones. So, right, he's again locking himself into a statement. The good thing about forensics is I'm sure they can go back, and they obviously did, to uncover or collect the forensic data, maybe messages, pictures, video, and so forth. So it's not really deleted when some suspects assume that they're resetting, which is good for us, bad for them.
Yeah. Detective Ramos, would you, and is this detective getting ready to pounce in a few minutes here because of now this whole reset, story about the phone? I mean, at what point do you know to like kind of get, I guess, more aggressive, but like substantially more aggressive?
Well, sometimes you have to, sometimes you don't. At this point, there's no reason for it. He's coming up with information, and how accurate it is or isn't, they'll know. And if they don't get the answers that they're hoping for, then they might get just turn it up just a notch. But you got to remember that's a double-edged sword. So if you start getting more aggressive and you start coming at him harder, he's going to back up and he's going to retreat and he's going to say, you know what, I'm done talking to you guys. I want a lawyer. If I'm under arrest, I want a lawyer, and I don't want to talk to you guys anymore. And then you're done. You've some courts have allowed statements in before he says, hey, I'm done, I want a lawyer. Other courts have said, no, he asked for a lawyer, so no, I'm not letting anything in. It's something that you got to keep in the back of your mind, that right now he's voluntarily giving this information up. So you want to keep the tone decent enough where he continues to voluntarily give it up, and you keep feeding him that rope and see how much it's going to take before he hangs himself.
Right.
Ramos, I'm always amazed that anyone at all, including my own mother, would listen to me. But are you equally surprised in your career that more people don't just immediately say, I want my lawyer? Like most people, it seems, talk, right? Is it just because they don't know, or they think they're going to outsmart you? What do you think's behind that?
It all depends on the person. I have had a couple cases that were just like this, almost identical to this. A little female victim and piece of garbage suspect. And for me, and I'm sure for these guys, one of the hardest things to do is to keep your cool. And you want to reach across the table there and punch him because you know that he's done what you think he's done, and you're going to prove it, and he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life, if not get the death penalty. But you have to restrain yourself on that, and you have to stay calm. You have to keep, listening to what he's saying and go off of what he's saying when he makes a ludicrous statement that is a lie. You let him keep lying because that's going to discredit his entire statement.
Right. I want to add one more thing to that. Phil's absolutely right. One of my next questions would be, and maybe they're going to ask this, why would you reset your phone?
Mm-hmm. Just simple, yeah. And you leave it open-ended like that. All right, let's see what his answer is to all this. COE, let her rip.
Is he in technology right now, or I'm just not paying attention, or
Did that happen once to your phone, or how many times do you think you updated your phone?
I think I tried to update it twice, and I don't know what happened.
Okay. And from what I understand, that you gave the deputies consent to look through your phone. You did. Okay. And you voluntarily gave it to them so they could bring it here to do the extraction and stuff like that. Okay. What do you think was on the phone?
Text messages.
Mm-hmm.
Emails. Phone stuff.
Pictures?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of pictures were on there?
Training card pictures, lightsaber pictures, Disney pictures.
You have a Google account?
Yeah.
Do you save pictures to your Google account?
Sometimes.
Or is it automatically? I know sometimes phones sync to a cloud and.
Yeah, I think it backs up to Google.
Mm-hmm. And then sometimes when you reset your phone and your phone updates and puts these apps back on your phone, sometimes they will put the images back on your phone.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you have any pictures on your phone?
Oh, I assume so.
Do you have any pictures of you on your phone?
Probably. I mean, we went to Disney, took selfies on the train. She got back from Puerto Rico and had her hair braided. We got pictures of that. All sorts of pictures. Family events. I'm not as much of a shutterbug as her mom, but I take them every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Any other pictures that you think of? Here's where I'm going to be brutally honest with you. There's pictures of you on your phone. And I'm pretty sure you know what some of those pictures are about. You're a very intelligent person. And I don't want you to discredit yourself by saying you don't know about all the pictures that are on your phone.
COE, let's hold it. All right, so this is, again, a very disturbing case. This is Stephan Sterns accused of really heinous SA crimes against this young girl, Maddie Soto, and also ultimately killing her is what he's accused of. Phil Ramos, this is kind of the moment of truth. This is when the detective now is saying, and thank you to the COE for gifting 5 memberships here. Thank you. But Phil, the moment of truth has arrived. The detective is now going to his phone and the really disturbing images that are on there. You heard him say he had pictures of lightsabers. I don't know what the hell that even means. Disney, other things, but he's obviously evading this. How do you navigate this now? What should we see after this from this detective now that he's gotten to the aha moment?
Yeah. So now you're letting him know we know you're lying. We know that you're not telling us everything. You know what's on that phone. We know what's on that phone. And now you need to be honest with us, because he's given him a chance to tell us what's on the phone. I mean, we already have the phone. We're going to get everything that's on it. Tell us what we're going to get. Is there, all right, so you got pictures of whatever he was saying. And by the way, a lightsaber is a Star Wars weapon. It's the true weapon of a Jedi Knight. And so now you can see he's really clamming up now. Now he's even getting more tense with his arms, or he's pulling his arms in a little bit more. And the cops are just letting him know it's coming. So just here's your chance to tell us, and show your honesty and your veracity, because we know what's on that phone. So just tell us. If you're not going to tell us, it's not going to look good for you.
Cynthia, I won't be there next week, but I will be there on May 5th, which is when I think the trial for his SA crimes begins, unless it's continued for some reason. But thank you to Penny B, becoming a YouTube member. Troy Looney, his body language hasn't changed much, but when the detective started this line of questioning, it's like I could feel it. I could see it in his body, like in his face, that he knows he's caught here.
Yes. Absolutely. Just the fact, this is the turning point, as you said, moment of truth, where they're coming in more aggressive, as Phil mentioned. They're confronting him. They even gave him the somewhat compliment. We know you're intelligent, but they're letting him know we're not stupid either. We're just as intelligent, or we have something we're going to allow you to tell us. So again, letting him talk is a good thing, but now it's go time. I'm kind of surprised they didn't step out of the room, but they had their strategy beforehand. So everyone does a little bit differently. Sometimes we step out of the room, both detectives, let it kind of fester with him and him think, because he's fishing. He's also been trying to find out what do they know. So this is the moment of truth. It's go time.
By the way, Brianna said that Bree, and she's always in the chat. Hey, Bree, she said that people talk, because I asked that question to try to figure out what the police know, which is an interesting point. Did I say John Hall, John Oates? Maybe that's right. Daryl Hall, John Oates. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. All right, let's let her play. This is the point where police now know what's on that phone.
So you want to add to the list of pictures?
No. Should I be talking with a lawyer right now?
I can't answer that question. My sole purpose right now is to see if I can find where it is, and I'm really hoping you can help me.
Okay. Well, I'd like to try to help, but I feel like I should probably have a lawyer present at this point.
So you're wanting an attorney?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That can happen. I want to let you know you're not free to leave. You're being detained, okay? Do you want to know what you're being detained for?
Yeah.
Capital sexual battery and possession of child pornography.
Okay.
So we're going to step out. If you need anything, please tap on this door, okay? And there's going to be detectives outside that will be able to assist you.
Okay.
Well, good luck to you, Mr. Is it Sterns?
Yeah.
Stern.
COE, let's just stop it for a quick minute. This dude is very creepy. So there's 49 minutes left. I'm not sure what is ahead, to be perfectly honest. But Phil Ramos, so what do you do as a detective when, I mean, this Stephan Sterns worded it very oddly. It's like, should I have my lawyer present? He was like asking them, and then the detective said, I can't answer that for you. At what point do you have to stop the interview? Like, how does that have to be presented to you?
Well, I think that they did it appropriately because any judge, any attorney is going to say, well, wait a minute. When he said, well, should I have an attorney? You know, the correct answer is, yeah, you need an attorney. You're screwed. We've got you. You know, you can't beat around that bush. You can't deceive him or make him think that, well, no, you're not in enough trouble yet to need an attorney because you'll lose a whole statement if you do that. So, yeah, they did the right thing, and I don't know what's going to be on the last 49 minutes. Not typically. Sometimes what you do is you go back in and say, okay, you've lawyered up. In essence, he's lawyered up, and so you can't ask him any more questions, but you can certainly tell him some more information that you have, and you preface it with saying, look, we're not asking you any more questions. You want an attorney, and we'll get you an attorney, but we just want you to know A, B, C, D, E, F, and go through that. And then that's really going to get his head going and go, crap, they know a lot more than I thought they did. And even if he comes back and he says, okay, look, I'll tell you more, then you got to redo the whole Miranda. He says, no, listen, you've already asked for an attorney, or you said you don't want an attorney. You really got to clarify that, because once you've given him this information that how much more you know, and you never tell him everything, you just tell him enough to realize that he's sunk. If he changes his mind and says, okay, I'll finish talking to you, then you need to reinforce the fact that he doesn't have to talk to you. He's in custody. He's asked for an attorney, and have him emphasize, no, I don't want. I want to keep talking to you guys without an attorney, because that's the key. That he wants to continue giving information without an attorney present.
Very interesting. Dr. Detective, what is going on? You guys were saying a moment ago that you probably both would have gone out a touch earlier out of the interview room, but everyone's got their own style. But now they're out of the interview room. You heard him say that there'll be some detectives outside to tap if he needs anything. But what are the detectives who were in here a moment ago? What are they doing outside right now?
So I imagine they are most likely drafting the report for his charges that they currently advised him of. They're going to probably have him signed or give him a copy of whatever he's charged with. Maybe give him a business card. I would also say, hey, if you change your mind, this is my card. Give this to your lawyer, or just let him sit for a moment so he can think about it. And as Phil said, if they present additional information of knowledge, not everything, of course, but if they present additional information, he may change his mind before he leaves and say, hey, like Phil said, I want to talk to you. And we would go through the whole process again. I've had suspects do that on a couple of occasions. We let them know we really want to talk to you. So when you talk to your lawyer, if you change your mind or want to make a statement, just get in contact, or they'll get in contact with us, and we'll go from there.
Phil Ramos, I really am trying to avoid this, but this is actually part of this story. And I guess I could avoid it, but I'm not going to, because that's not my style. So Cynthia Sweezy, they take pictures of his ding dong with a birthmark. So in a case like this, Phil Ramos, I did not know this, by the way. I'm just learning this now. God, Gabby, right on cue. But Phil, I mean, this is the kind of case where, in all seriousness, they've got to match these photos to this guy. And so is this like SOP, like for this kind of case where you do have to take pictures of this guy's genitals so you can match it up to photos? And how the hell do you do that? You tell him, like, drop your trousers and here we go?
Yeah. It's just that simple. But if there's something identifying about the pictures and they want to positively say this picture is of your genital area, you've got to be able to articulate why you know that. And because it's kind of it's a delicate situation, obviously, but what would happen if, he's got a certain scar or some kind of pattern on his penis that is identifying, and then you say, well, we need to take these pictures, and it's not there. You can't identify him to those pictures. So then you're like, oh crap, what's going on here? And see if there's an explanation for that. So it's a tricky situation, but it's got to be done, and we have done it before, but you have to do it very delicately and with the utmost decency that you can, given the circumstances of what you're doing.
And I assume there have to be multiple people in the room, or at least someone else with you, or whoever, so that there's.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have the crime scene analyst, the CSI, that's gonna come in and take the pictures, and then you want both detectives in there, and you don't want a female in there taking the pictures. You want to have a male in there taking the pictures. As situation was reversed, it was a female. You want a female taking the pictures with female officers or detectives in there. So you don't want to have that kind of unpleasant or uncomfortable situation. So,
right. Yeah. You want to jump in there also. Excellent response, Phil. The detectives, I'm sure, are also going to consider taking his clothing, maybe transferring him to a different jumpsuit or what have you. They're most likely also going to collect DNA standards, cotton swabs, maybe of the penile area also, but also of his hands, maybe of the mouth, not with the same swabs, but yeah, they're going to collect his DNA standard, as it's called, to compare and contrast against any other evidence from the scene or from what they've uncovered or other clothing or even his clothes. So that's a part of it. We have to collect a fresh standard from each suspect for every case, sometimes on multiple occasions.
First we had to deal with Chad Daybell's loin fire, now Stephan's junk. And by the way, Ramos, apparently, according to Vesper Martini, who knows all, she said it was a female that took these photos, but I guess we're going to find out what's up here in a moment. Let's keep playing this so we can get through it, and we will continue to break this down. Stephan Sterns is now all alone in the interview room as the two detectives went out, and you heard Dr. Detective say they're probably writing up a report about the charges he is facing here. Let her roll, COE. Let her roll. I don't know if you want to scoot ahead a little, COE, for the interest of time here. Oh, boy.
Yeah, see there, he's throwing in the towel now.
Yeah?
He put his head down. He's like, shit, they got me. And now he's sitting there thinking, what am I going to do now?
And Phil, while you can keep playing at COE, but while we're watching this, I assume someone is obviously, they have their eye on him. They're watching this on another monitor, right? Just to.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, Dr. Detective, go.
They could be just both watching him from, right, as you said, from the monitor, other detectives, but also the two interview detectives. Yeah, he's nervous. He's thinking about what to say or what comes next. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I keep seeing so many new names. The Coffrey, welcome. Thank you for this. I appreciate the kind words. You guys can like and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that. We have a Patreon page, but thank you all for being here and all the new names. Pink Panther B, Exotic Prairie. These are names I have not really seen before. Even his hands are creepy, says Pink Panther. Jen does the long size as well. Marley Mum, who we've seen in the chat many times. Bev's Bish Slap. No more cherry Coke for you, Stephan Sterns. He is.
And the other thing that the detectives are going to be doing is watching him and saying, okay, let's just let him stew a little bit. And as soon as they see that he's completely given up, then they just might step back in and not say anything. Just tell him here's the situation, and let him be the one to broach the subject of if he wants to keep talking. Because you can't go in there and say, all right, do you want to keep talking to us? You can't, because he's already said, no. I want an attorney. No more questions.
Yeah. Allie's mom from Seattle. Hello. I don't know if you guys saw earlier, lest you think we are not a global show. We've got someone in the house from Cambodia, which is awesome. I wouldn't mind retiring to Cambodia. I think you can live there pretty well. Can we make Phil and Dr. Detective a weekly regular? I don't know. Maybe Phil and Scott. Maybe their time is up. I don't know. They had their they have Scott's law enforcement conference. Canine Catherine, ever the generous one, gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, Canine. COE is scrolling ahead a little bit, which is not a bad idea. Let's keep going. Good job, COE. Excellent job, COE. This dude is. This is why I like true crime, actually. It makes me feel a little bit better about my life. I'm like, at least I'm not Stephan Sterns. Look at this dude.
Right.
Yeah, look at this guy. I'll never understand this stuff.
Yeah, he's thinking.
Yeah,
his bad days are just starting, and he's realizing it.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So he's been in here for quite some time, all alone.
I bet what he's really thinking is, have they found her yet?
That's interesting. Good point. She's still missing at this point.
Yes.
I think this is maybe, I don't know. I think maybe they arrest him, I believe, 2 days after she goes missing, and then they find the body 4 days later. Justice for Maddie. Exotic Prairie here in the house.
Okay, I think they're coming back in. Yes.
Stephan, so what's going to happen now is we have a warrant to collect a couple of items from you, okay? So basically, this young lady here, we're going to swab your cheek, we're going to take some of your clothes, stuff like that, okay? So she is going to take some pictures of you as well, like your hands. And we're going to ask you to take your jacket off so we can get your arms and all that stuff too, okay?
This guy moves slower than me. How's this guy 38? He looks like he's 71.
Yeah, that's part of the act.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the hat's coming off, belt.
That's part mark.
What?
Starting to read.
Oh, but yeah.
The whole thing?
Yep.
All right, so in the name of the state of Florida, all right, any sworn Kissimmee police officer, Osceola County Sheriff's Deputy, Orange County Deputy, sworn investigator of the State Attorney's Office of the Ninth Judicial Circuit Court of Florida, special agent of Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE, or any sworn police officer, deputy sheriff acting under a mutual aid or cooperation agreement with the Sheriff's Office of Osceola County. Whereas before me, the Honorable Judge, it's hard to read his handwriting, of the Ninth Judicial Circuit of Orange County, Osceola County, A sworn written application affidavit search warrant has been made on this date by Detective Moore of the Kissimmee Police Department, assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division. And whereas the facts made known in this application and search warrant, there may be cause to certify and find probable cause to believe that certain evidence, to wit, DNA, genetic material, buccal swabs from you, Stephen Michael Sterns, blood, saliva, or epithelial cells to be collected from you, Michael Sterns, photographs and swabs of your penis, and clothing worn by you as of right now. All right, this is evidence. This is believed to be evidence of the felony crime that we've already talked about that took place in Florida, which is in violation of statute 7940114B and 8270715A, prohibiting the crimes of sexual battery, possession of material depicting sexual performance of a child. Currently exists within Orange and Osceola County, and is presently believed to be under your control, Stephen Michael Sterns, and that the law relating to said offenses are possessed on you, who is more specifically desired below, and then it has your name and date of birth and social. So Stephen Michael Sterns is your first name, social, date of birth 4/25/1986, and you're a white male, black hair, brown eyes, 6'2". Now, therefore, the law enforcement officer named above, which such lawful assistance as may be necessary, you are here commanded in daytime, nighttime, or on Sunday, as the agencies of the situation may require, to enter and search the above listed person that we talked about earlier, with the taking of the DNA material, buccal cells, through a buccal swab, which will be done by the appropriate personnel, and will involve no unreasonable intrusion into or upon the body of you, Michael Sterns, for which the evidence is to be collected. The person and evidence requested is reasonably believed to be engaged in or connection with the said illegal activity we talked about earlier. For this evidence described in this warrant and in the same of any part thereof to be found, you are hereby authorized to seize, secure, collect, photograph, examine, analysis, and videotape said evidence in this search warrant. All right, after we're done, a proper inventory receipt will be given for any evidence or property seized, and a completed duplicate copy of this search warrant will be delivered to you in control of the property searched, or in the absence of any such, we will leave a copy. But you're here today, so we'll give you a copy of the search warrant. All right. And then it just states that we have to do the search warrant return within 10 days after executing the search warrant as of today. All right. This will be your copy here. So go ahead and stand up. She's going to go ahead and take some pictures of you.
You might want to turn your eyes at this point, everyone.
And if you could put your hands out like this and turn them over. Do you want to kick off his watch? Yeah, that'll work. And your hat also, please. Okay, if you could open your mouth. you take off your shirt? Okay. Your shoes? Here you go. Okay, go ahead and turn around, face the wall. Put your hands behind your back. Put them together like you're praying. There you go, just like that. Go ahead and spread your feet for me. Thank you. Oh, wait, let me get a picture. I just want to see something real quick. Did you get a really good picture of this right here? This whole area. Here's the right hand. It's probably under the. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Okay, that area too, please. Can you take one like that, please?
Hey, turn around, Stephen.
Yes, COE, just stop it for 1 second. Dr. Detective, there's only 2 minutes left, but Dr. Detective, why is there now, first of all, Abbey Crossing, good question. Why is he handcuffed during this part of the photos? What about that? Why do they cuff him right now?
So imagine they're actually arresting him, affecting the physical arrest of him. He will be taken out. They also may conduct the penal swab next with the additional crime scene agent there, the male detective there. I'm assuming that's what they're going to do, but they may blur the vision for us. But I'm just assuming that's why. Maybe Phil can speak to that differently.
Yeah, Phil, it looks like this is another detective, female detective, that comes in here who's like cuffing him. Why would there be another detective and not these two guys who just did the interview?
Yeah, I don't think she was a detective. I think she might have been a crime scene analyst.
Okay.
Because of the way she's dressed.
Okay.
I'm not sure why they would have handcuffed him before they do what they're going to do there, unless their protocols are a little different. That if he lashes out or strikes out at one of the people that are in there, that may just be an officer safety issue. But I think the two ladies, the ones that was taking the photograph and taking the buccal swab, and the one putting the handcuffs on him are probably their crime scene analysts. The one had a logo on the back that said forensic unit, which is the evidence collection team. And they're typically not law enforcement officers. They're not commissioned police officers. So why this other one was putting cuffs on him, I'm kind of scratching my head on that one. I'm not sure.
All right.
Yeah, it could have been a sheriff or a deputy, but I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I saw her with a firearm, but
yes.
Yeah. All right. COE, let her rip. There's only 2 minutes left of this. Thank God.
She got a full frontal,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh boy.
You can help out just by pulling your pants off your ankles or your toes.
Try not to let the pants touch the ground, please. What's this in this pocket here? Just your wallet?
Yeah.
Lift your foot, please. You got it. We need to search these again before you take them to make sure that there's nothing else in there. What do you want to do? I just want to make sure that we search these again before she submits them. Is there anything else in these pants that we need to know about?
COE is getting nervous.
Just as long as you get underwear, you guys want that.
Yes, we do.
That would be it. That's all we. I know you guys are all disappointed that you don't get to see the rest. But I think you could probably find that online. So, Detective Phil Ramos, your overall thoughts on this? What grade do you give these detectives and the overall job that they did here in interviewing Stephan Sterns?
Well, in the end, he asked for a lawyer, so in their view, that's a victory because he got to the point where, I need to stop talking about what happened to these guys because I'm done. I believe they did a good job. In my view, they did a good job. They got the information that they could out of him, and they caught him in a number of lies. So I think they got a good job on that, and I think it's going to be a successful prosecution. What we didn't get to see is, and DNA is a very tricky thing. So what they would have done when they bring in a jail suit for him, his underwear were probably going to be the key part of DNA evidence in this particular case to find how much DNA is in there. If any of Maddie's DNA is there, that would have come off of his genital area. So though the underwear would have been put in a separate, completely different bag and not mixed in with his outer clothing, so there's no cross-contamination in there. And that's why you saw them keep putting on rubber gloves, because once you use the gloves for one part of removing clothes, and you want to avoid cross-contamination, so you put another pair of gloves on so that you don't get the DNA that was on the first pair of gloves onto what you're doing on the next pair of gloves. So it's all science, man, and DNA is going to be everywhere, and so you want to preserve the DNA as best as you can.
Troy Looney, your overall thoughts on the interview, the grade that you would give these detectives?
I give these detectives, I think they did an excellent job. Excellent strategy with how they allowed him to talk. They locked him into several statements, to and from his whereabouts, the phones, the pictures, his awareness or interaction with Maddie, sleeping arrangements, everything. Very well done. I also appreciate how they did change the gloves, and they took their time. So excellent work.
There you go. I don't think I can tolerate much more of Stephan Sterns. This is actually, I am planning to go to this trial if it happens May 5th, and I'm not sure how I'm going to sit through it, considering I have 2 daughters. Kathleen, Craghead here. Poor sweet Maddie was forced to see this, that toned body. Justice for beautiful Maddie. If I was innocent, I'd be outraged and spewing hell and spitfire. His calm demeanor is really unsettling. I mean, he's caught. He knows he's caught. The People's Republic of Vermont. There you go. I will not make a further comment on that. All right, on to the wacky true crime stories of the week. Huge thanks again to veteran homicide detectives Phil Ramos and Dr. Detective Troy Looney. In New York, this story is wild. A New York family is fuming after learning that the person they had cremated, by the way, COE, if we have those little feel-good videos, that'd be a really nice way to end this disturbing show. A New York family is fuming after learning that the person they had cremated was not their missing loved one and that she is still alive. Shanita Hopkins told Rochester, New York station WROC-TV on Thursday about the ordeal her family has gone through since discovering the person they've been mourning for years is not dead. Hopkins' sister, Shanice Cruz, had not been seen or heard from since July 6 of 2021. She was 28 years old at the time and had 2 children, so she's not seen since 2021. April 2024, police alert the sister, Hopkins, is her name, and her family that Cruz remains had been found that February. An autopsy at the time said Cruz died of a drug overdose with high levels of cocaine found in her system. Despite not having heard from her sister in years, Hopkins did not believe the circumstances surrounding Cruz's death. Reading the autopsy, she said, was traumatic. It's one thing to hear, but then it's another thing to actually read it and then to see her name is attached to it. The family wondered if Cruz truly died from an overdose or if she was unknowingly laced with a drug. Your mind just goes crazy, she said. Because the body was extremely decomposed, the family did not go to view what they were told were Cruz's remains. Instead, they had the body cremated and held a memorial service for her. Hopkins then receives a random message from someone she had never met before. That person shared a very recent photo with Cruz and writes, "Ma'am, I'm concerned your sister is not dead. She just volunteered at my event today," the stranger writes, attaching a photo. After contacting the police, Hopkins was redirected to the Monroe County Medical Examiner's office, who assured her that Cruz's dental records matched the body that they had cremated. The conflicting accounts weighed heavily on the family's mental state. We dealt with the ashes and stuff. We put them in necklaces and we mixed them with my mom, with this stranger. She continued, "You can't take back the moments where the cops came and told us Shanice Cruz had been found dead outside like trash. You can't take away them initial feelings. We can't get that back. We can't get them 7 months back. We can't get them tears back." Hopkins said the Monroe County Medical Examiner's office has since offered to pay the family for the cremation. I think we're paying a lot more, and funeral. However, Hopkins said they are choosing to lawyer up instead. "I almost feel like they couldn't find out who this was and they wanted to close a missing person's case," she told a news station. When it comes to Cruz, Hopkins said that while her family can't force her to talk to us, she does have a message for her sister, and then went on to provide a message. Phil Ramos, I don't even understand how this could happen. And it sounds like this family might be right, that they just wanted to solve a missing persons case and said, "Yeah, we'll just put these remains with this person." But apparently they cremated a stranger and not the family member. Your reaction?
Crazy, man. That's just crazy. Ultimately, that comes down to the responsibility of the coroner's office, whose job it is to identify a deceased person. That's not what the cops do. It's what the coroner does. So the actions taken by whoever to dispose of the remains would have been based on the information from the coroner, who said, "This is so-and-so, and I've identified them, and this is how I identified them, and that's who it is." Otherwise, it would have been a Jane or John Doe, and however long they keep them before they dispose of the remains is, up to whatever that jurisdiction has set. So I start writing the check and just figure out how many zeros you want after it.
There you go. Dr. Detective Troy Looney, have you ever heard of anything like this where someone is cremated? Brooklyn Pasola, by the way, who knew that you're a funeral director? I had no idea all this time. She's very sorry to hear this. I feel like we could use a funeral director at STS. So just email me, survivingthesurvivor@gmail.com. What a interesting job that is. Recession proof for sure. Dr. Detective Troy Looney. Have you ever heard of something like this, like body being I guess it does happen occasionally.
Well, unfortunately, I have. I believe we had a case here in Ohio. Can't make this up, right? So the Midwest. We had a funeral director that was actually taking in loved ones, or I guess providing funeral services, but they were cremating people and just kind of putting them into like a vault, or dumping the ashes into random locations. I think they found over 100 different, the remains of 100 different people or more. It's just terrible. I mean, how do you account for, who's who, or, but they were charging people for services. They weren't burying them. So, I mean, that's just a pretty wild. This is a wild case, but that was even much worse. But
What happened to those people? Were they convicted of what?
I know there was an arrest made. I'm not sure of the outcome. It's just, you hear about that story and you're like, what in the world? So
Yeah, some crazy people. CJ here, appreciation for Dr. Detective and Phil Ramos.
Thank you.
It wouldn't be a Friday if we didn't give you an egg update. I still have not been able to get eggs. I go to Trader Joe's on Sundays. They are always sold out because I get there too late. Eggs in Reno and Wenatchee, Washington are the same. $5 a dozen. That's pretty cheap. I bet if you go into a Trader Joe's in Vegas, you won't find them. You will not find them here in Miami. And there you go. But the price of, I don't know what's going on. They ain't cheap right now, though. I'll tell you that. And my kids eat like 700 of them a week. So, all right. Someone suggests I get a chicken and a coop. Maybe I'll do that. Tiff Knox here. I'm afraid to read this. My grandfather's ashes were supposed to be scattered at sea, but the person was dumping all the ashes on their property. Big lawsuit. Melvin Belly was my mom's attorney. I'm glad my last name is not Belly.
Belli. It's
Belli. Belli. Where is that? Melvin Belli. Where was this? Is this what? Do you know where this is? Where's this lawyer based?
He worked in California for many years. He was one of the consulting attorneys on the Zodiac killer case, actually.
Phil Ramos, how much do you think, just getting back to that story for a second, look at this, at Traders, it's only $4.99 for a dozen eggs. Everyone's on top of the egg prices. What kind of settlement you think this family is going to get for this mistake?
That's a good question. It's not going. I mean, they're not going to buy a condo in Redondo, but it'll probably be probably area of 50, 60, maybe 70,000. Just for the grief. They certainly can't say that, well, this person died and they were just going to graduate with a PhD in astrophysics and stuff like that. But the loss compared to the way it was presented to them, you got to pay people for their grieving and that they shouldn't have had to go through.
Yeah. All right, on to the next story here. In 2006, this is a fantastic name. I wish this was my name. Abraham Shakespeare, that's his name. Abraham Shakespeare. He won $30 million in the Florida lottery. Of course, it's Florida. Ultimately choosing to take a $17 million lump sum payout. He was very generous with his winnings. He helped friends and family to pay off mortgages, and he gave money to those who needed it, including even strangers. But 3 years later, Abraham mysteriously vanishes. In January 2010, the 43-year-old his body was found buried under a concrete slab in Doris D.D. Moore's backyard in Plant City, Florida. But who was she, and how was she connected to Abraham Shakespeare's death? Well, if you watch 2020 tonight, you're going to find out. She was convicted of his murder. She was an author and said she was going to write a book about him, but I guess instead of getting paid for the book, she decided she was going to murder him and take his money. Phil Ramos, is money the root of all evil?
Yeah. Yeah. Love, drugs, and money, man. Those are the three driving factors. But you gotta love the irony here. She was buried in the backyard of a town called Plant City. Get it?
Wow.
Sometimes you just gotta laugh, man.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So this is going to be on tonight on 2020. Check it out. Next story. You guys all remember the Sixth Sense actor Haley Joel Osment. He is now facing 2 misdemeanor drug charges. He was arrested in California. A police source told People magazine that Osment was arrested at Mammoth Mountain Ski Area for unruly conduct. He also was found, I guess, with not only just being drunk, but also cocaine. And there's more added to the story today that he was shockingly screaming both racial slurs against Black people and Jewish people. Dr. Detective, it's always you or I getting the racial slurs. Or could be Ramos too, I guess. The Latinos. I guess the three of us.
Right.
He was screaming something that rhymes with the word bike about Jewish people, and now he's apologizing to the public and to the Jewish community in California. My question, Phil Ramos, I got to go back to you because you're the elder statesman here. What does it matter? Why do all child actors seem to end up completely screwed up later in life?
Man, that's such a good question, and you hear about that all the time. All the time. These poor kids, they make fortunes when they're youthful, and they can't spend it until they're, an adult that's held in trust for them, and they don't know how to handle it. And then the loss of fame. So many of them, their only claim to fame was the handful of years that they were a child actor, and after that, nobody hears from them anymore. And so. We have a handful of those living out here in Vegas. They still want to hang on to the fact that, hey, I'm so-and-so from this movie. Remember me? And you don't look anything like yourself. And, I used to watch you when you were a kid, but I wouldn't recognize you now as an old, saggy person.
You got Gary Coleman. Talking about Willis. And that whole family was just cursed, the Different Strokes family. I remember, if you guys remember, 8 is Enough. COE and Space Ghost have no idea what I'm talking about, but 8 is Enough. And the little cute kid, his name was Adam Rich. And I remember he was also something bad happened to him. I remember, though, I met him when I was probably, 8, and he was probably 11 or something. And he was, it was like the biggest deal in my life that I got to meet the kid from 8 is Enough. But so there's a Netflix doc right now. I'm always promoting Netflix. They should really sponsor my show. There's a show called, or a 3-part docuseries called Kidfluencers. It's about the parents dragging their kids. And when I heard about the money they're making, I was like, it's a great idea. These kids are making $500,000 a month. But turns out that the mother who is running the show is a little deranged and crazy. And Dr. Detective Troy Looney, should I roll the dice and send my kids on a one-way flight to Hollywood and just leave them there and see if they can succeed?
That's no.
That's a no.
That's a big no. Yeah,
big no.
Definitely. Yeah, it's. Why send them to the wolves? I should say wolves, but
by the way, the COE and I were arguing. So my middle daughter is an amazing athlete, I have to say. My oldest is a great athlete. My youngest is a great athlete. The middle daughter is an amazing. She started gymnastics, and her coach, because we're in Miami, is a former Cuban Olympian. And he this week, because they're off school, was working with her. And my daughter said he's really tough on me. My daughter's only 9. He's making her do like sit-ups and all these other things. And the COE said if it's too hard, just don't do it. And I screamed at the COE. I'm like, do it because it's hard. I said to my daughter, make yourself uncomfortable. And yeah, not COE, what's the matter with you? Telling my daughter to quit gymnastics. She could be paying all the bills if she's a Simone Biles. I'm looking for opportunities here now. She's a really good gymnast in this, and this team, believe it or not, has sent some kids to the Olympics. This guy is like one of these old school gymnastics coaches are like boxing coaches. Like my daughter's 9 and he's telling her, yeah, Joel, 100 times sit-ups for a 9-year-old is insane. Let me see you do. I'll do it and I'll crush you, COE. I'll crush just like I did in that race up. The COE and I raced each other. It was all caught on camera. We were running uphill in Encino, California, where we were living. It was an impromptu call out from my wife, and I decided I would crush her in the race. And about 3 seconds to the finish line, I heard a pop in my hamstring. I dropped to the ground. My mother-in-law had to come put ice on my head. It was probably like some of the worst pain I'd ever felt, but I did win. Actually, I don't know if I got to the hold on. CJ's saying COE, telling me Mish is telling you crush nothing. Oh God, not the pulled muscle race.
I'm just waiting for the pop we're going to hear when the COE throws a frying pan from the kitchen at you, man.
That's coming next. All right, maybe it's a good time to move on with stories here. 2 Hawaii men were sentenced to 1 night in jail in Hawaii. There was a pig hunting contest, and they thought they would trick everybody. So they went and killed a beloved pet pig from an animal sanctuary. So now in Canine Maui's neck of the woods, Jarneski Magana, 18, and Chris Ryan Saito Carino, 20, have been charged with first-degree animal cruelty after killing Eddie, who's a beloved pet pig from Kitty Charm Farm in Maui. Canine Maui, do you know Kitty Charm Farm in Maui? That's where this happened. The men, because they won the quote-unquote hunting contest, which they didn't really win, they got $1,000, and there you go. You should never hurt an animal. That's all I can say. I'm looking at the comments here. All right. This next story, we're going to, I think this is the story I'm about to talk about. So let's just watch this story here. I have no idea what this is. Oh, COE, can you play this? This is about a 2-year-old who wanders away in Prescott, Arizona, and the dog finds the toddler. We're ending on happy, sweet notes here.
Conditions are what 2-year-old Bowden Allen faced when he walked off his parents' property Monday and into the northern Arizona high desert. Yavapai County search and rescue teams jumped into action, but Megan Fitzgerald with the sheriff's office says cases like this don't usually turn out like they'd hope.
It's a rarity, so it is not every day that we get to sit here and talk about a happy ending where the child was safe and located.
But it was the 4-legged loyal ranch dog, Buford, who found Bowden the next morning, 7 miles from home.
Going down the driveway, then my dog was sitting down there with the little kid, just brought him up from the horse pasture and brought him over to the gate and was just hanging out with him. So
his owner, Scotty Dutton, says the only explanation he can think of is Bowden followed the power line all the way to his property.
You walk all night? And he goes, no, I slept under a tree. And I said, well, did my dog find you? And he said, yep. Power line lines out right to his house 7 miles away. So
the sheriff's office says they can't explain how the 2-year-old walked 7 miles, but they're relieved he was found safe and in good spirits. As for Buford, he's back to work tonight, but not without a little reward.
Oh, he's getting steak dinner tonight. My wife already said, yeah, no, he did a great job.
Question. Detective Troy Looney, anything better than a dog in this world, in your opinion?
Of course not. The best pets, some of the best pets you can find. So I say that because we're debating getting another dog. We lost our dog about 2 years ago. So still think about him all the time. So yeah, and this is a phenomenal story. I'll tell you, we're a little bit behind because we actually had a live case of a 5-year-old missing since like 2 a.m. they've since I got text messages. They found the baby okay. So,
Mm.
but it was my mother was a little hokey. So this is a good outcome. We had a good
Yeah.
outcome. So I'm happy about that. So.
Nice. Bill Ramos, I think I've asked you this probably a bunch of times, but do you have a dog currently? Have you had a dog, or are you a dog guy?
Yes, not yet. So, yeah, well, I used to breed golden retrievers, and man, I love those dogs. They are
Wow.
just great dogs.
You bred them? Like you had like a area of the home and you were
Yeah,
having really?
yeah, and at the time, we were living out on the outskirts of town where there was nothing except a handful of custom homes and desert, and our poor little golden would go out in the mornings and do her thing and then come back. And one day she didn't come back, and I sent my boys out to find her, and a damn rattlesnake had gotten her.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh man.
so that broke everybody's heart, and we retired from the golden retriever breeder business. But I love those dogs. They are amazing dogs.
Well, I'll tell you, when I was living in Arizona, I told the story, I think maybe even last time we were on, but Mabel Rose, my beloved puggle who passed away just before 17. Yes, that was Sunny, right? Space Coast, COE, and had a golden that lived to like 18 or 19. What was I saying? Oh, so Mabel Rose, I did not know this even was a thing, but when she lived in Arizona, she had to get rattlesnake training. And I went, it was like a 3-week thing where it was like a class full of dogs that learned to avoid rattlesnakes. And they say, and like the last class, they actually meet a real rattlesnake. Like they get very close and they learn to stay away. And apparently they say that a dog will never forget that. Because I was terrified because in Tucson, they take the dogs for walks in the washes, which are the dry riverbeds. And I always used to be fearful from my Mabel Rose. But in the desert, there's like 10,000 things that can kill you, as you know, Ramos. It's scorpions. I used to have a black light in Tucson. I would look for scorpions under my bed every night. You've got javelinas. I didn't even know what that was. My golden retriever is Finn, and I call him my son, as you should. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you can get a Gila monster to kill you. There's a lot of ways to die in the desert. A lot of ways to die in the desert. We had a show dog named Last Place Chase. I like that. So that's a good Last Place Chase. So there is video of this. The COE couldn't pull it, but the only thing maybe comparable to dogs and maybe chimpanzees is Carm's favorite animal, and those are elephants. And we will go out on a high note here. San Diego just had a 5.2 magnitude earthquake, and at the San Diego Zoo, the elephants immediately circled the young elephants, the 7-year-old calves, Zuli and Micaiah, from any possible threats. These mama and papa elephants started hustling as much as an elephant can hustle, and they formed an actual circle around the young kids to protect them as this earthquake was happening. Phil Ramos, if you remember the tsunami in Thailand, I don't think any animals, not pets, but any animals died in that. Why are animals smarter than human animals? They seem to have a sixth sense. And these elephants, the first thing they're not looking for a Ferrari, Phil Ramos. They're not looking to kill someone to get their lottery winnings. They're looking to protect their children. Why are animals better than humans?
That's such a good question, man. But it's really true. Animals have an extra sense that we as humans don't have, and I know that there's a lot of studies to try and figure that out as a way to predict an earthquake, because animals know when an earthquake is coming, and science has said, well, they can feel the different wavelengths coming through the soil that indicates the plates are coming together, and the precursor to an earthquake. But it's amazing what animals can do. I saw the video of those elephants that you were talking about at the zoo, and it was just amazing. pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we had, when we first started training our cadaver dogs out here, we would take them out on, when we'd have remains and stuff like that, and have them do their training. Well, we had some remains in a gully, in a wash. And we had gotten, and they were all decomposed, skeletal remains. And they were training the dogs to hit on these remains. And so we had gotten 90% of the body, and the dog just kept working and working. I was just watching this dog, and, they alert by sitting down. And so we're almost done, and the dog keeps alerting at this one spot. He'll sit and point his nose down. So we go over there, and there was just a bunch of gravel, and we're looking. It's gravel. What's he alerting at? And the handler says, no, there's something there. And it was, like pea gravel, and the dog wouldn't move until we finally got the coroner's office was out there, and he comes out with a magnifying glass looking at where the dog was alerting on, and found a tiny end, tiny end of a finger bone. It was no bigger than your fingernail, and it mixed in with the rocks so perfectly we couldn't see it. But he goes, up, here it is right here, and he holds up this tiny little bone like that. That's what the dog was alerting on.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy with all the technology in the world, and like, there you go. Here's a video.
Yeah.
Earthquake starts, and the elephants form a circle. Look at this. What beautiful creatures, man. Look at this. Look at this. How do they know to do this?
They just know, man. They just know. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, look.
It's amazing.
Look. I'd love to have a pet elephant. I don't think it would do well in my backyard in Miami. It'd be amazing. I would absolutely love it. COE and I, for our, I think I've mentioned this a bunch of times, but for our honeymoon, we went to Africa. It was the greatest trip of my life. So happy I did. I want to take my kids one day, but we went to the Serengeti in Tanzania, and we went and met gorillas in Rwanda. A trip of a lifetime.
Nice.
I recommend that to anyone who can do it. It's you will never ever regret that. So. One final thing. It is Good Friday. It is Easter. Hope the elephants enjoy their holidays. And one person that might not be enjoying the holiday as much, this guy, Scott Duffy. He was booked cross-examining everyone at the party. He was at the Hamptons Whodunit and got his booking shot. Phil Ramos, this is the guy who you are now replacing permanently because he's missed too many shows. Do you have a booking shot of yourself? Like when people are not around at the police station, would you guys ever take booking photos as a joke?
No. Not booking photos as a joke, but there are some inappropriate photos out there from shenanigans that we find ourselves committing. But no, we've never done anything like that.
Phil Ramos, I got a follow-up question. Was there like a watering hole where I always see in the movies, like the police officers always hang out at like a bar after their shift on Fridays? Is this a real thing? Would you guys do this? And where was the spot and what happens there?
Yep, it was here it was a bar called the Debriefing Room, and we would we'd all go hang out there, and that's all I can say about that.
Right.
Dr. Detective, does that exist in Akron? Same thing?
Well, it used to. There's a couple spots. We still have a lodge, of course. But early in my career, we'd have like what's called a beer jacket. You kind of congregate in the parking deck and maybe have a beer, but covering our uniforms. But that doesn't happen nowadays.
I'm taking
too many cameras.
Yeah, I'm taking. But the briefing room, was it owned by a cop, Phil Ramos? That's a great name.
It was actually owned by our protective association, our version of a union, and they got the licensing for it and hired the employees, and it was a lot of fun.
Phil Ramos, I feel like you should go from breeding golden retrievers now to owning a bar for retired police officers. I think that would be fun. See if your wife will let you do that. Again, a huge thank you to Detective Phil Ramos, 3-time Officer of the Year in Las Vegas, retired homicide detective. The guy infiltrated the Cuban mob. He still rides his Harley. Dr. Detective Troy Looney also was a homicide detective, now doing financial crimes. He is still active, but he'll be retiring one of these days, probably before I ever retire, which probably will be never, since I have 3 little kids. So on that note, have a great what is this? Does she always say racing to a doctor's appointment with the kids? Don't have a phone. Of course, she doesn't have a phone. She never has a phone. Happy COE. Were you able to send that letter? Because that's very important. COE. I like taking care of family business during the show. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Happy. Oh well, it's Good Friday. I don't know if you say have a Good Friday. Then happy Easter. Passover's wrapping up. Let's all be kind to each other. I once saw a shirt that said, "Please be kind, don't murder anyone." It's a good theme for this show. Love you, America. Phil Ramos will come get you if you do. Love you, Vegas. Love you, Akron, Ohio, and everyone everywhere near and far between. Have a great weekend. Thanks to the guests. We'll see you on Monday. Lori Vallow, closing arguments. We will bring it to you live. Let me figure out how to close out this show. See you, everybody.